Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video I have another Ninjago 2022 theory for you guys, and it is kind of based off of a theory that I've made previously, and that of course is the corrupt cops theory. In case you guys haven't seen that video, I highly recommend checking it out, but essentially I predicted that in the Ninjago 2022 story, of course following the events of Ninjago Seabound, there's going to be a bit of disconnect and a lack of trust between the citizens of Ninjago and the ninja themselves. I predicted that the Ninjago police force in particular is not going to be relatively pleased with what happened in Ninjago City following Wajira's rampage and Nia's sacrifice, and as such the government of Ninjago might actually turn against the ninja. And we're going to be kind of continuing on with that theory in today's video. I have a few other things that might happen as a result of that, but as is the case with most Ninjago theory videos, this information is not 100% confirmed. I will indeed be basing some ideas in today's video off of confirmed information, but of course I will clarify when I'm going to be talking about confirmed information, and of course when I will simply be referring to my theory. So do keep in mind that most of this video will in fact be a theory, not 100% confirmed. The only thing that is confirmed though is that Ninjago's government at some point in Ninjago's future will indeed be touched on in some way. We've got a very solid confirmation from some people that work on the Ninjago series, including Tommy Andreessen, that the Ninjago government will be referenced. We haven't really seen a lot of things in Ninjago previously revolving around government. I suppose you could argue that the royal family from season 8 is kind of government-like, and maybe even the Ninjago police force is a little bit government-like, but we haven't really seen a stern government put in place for the Ninjago timeline. We haven't really seen anything specific in Ninjago City, and even the land of Ninjago itself. Surely it has a mayor or a leader or something like that, a president maybe? I know the mayor of Ninjago has been referenced previously, but you get what I'm saying here. Following Ninjago's conclusion to Seabound and Wajira's rampage, Ninjago City has been left in complete ruins. Businesses are flooded, livelihoods are probably destroyed, and it's very unrealistic to suspect that nobody got hurt that day. That was something of course that Harumi was preaching about during season 8 as well, that during all these raids on Ninjago City, during all of these attacks, people do get hurt. The ninja can't save everybody, and that was proven with Harumi. I do think that's going to be the case as well following Wajira's rampage at the end of Seabound. Ninjago City was flooded, causing massive amounts of damage. It's very unrealistic to suspect that nobody got hurt, and that's where the government of Ninjago comes into play. I feel like following Wajira's rampage and Nia's total and complete transformation into this new water elemental form, I don't think the government of Ninjago is going to be trusting the ninja all that much anymore. Of course, the ninja have been longtime allies of Ninjago City for years now, but how much is too much? When is the breaking point here? When do the people of Ninjago just turn around and say no? When do they cut the ninja off? I think we might see that in the next season. Granted, this is kind of similar to what we saw during seasons like Skybound, where the ninja were being hunted by corrupt cops, or whatever Ronin was up to during the events of season 6, but this is on an entirely different level. Ninjago City was basically destroyed here. The ninja are probably not going to be in a good look for the public eye, and that's where the Vengestone buyer comes into play. Now, the Vengestone buyer, obviously you guys would know that the Vengestone arc has been kind of teased throughout the past couple of seasons. We first got word of this in Master of the Mountain, when the Skull Sorcerer was trying to sell off large amounts of Vengestone to some unknown buyer. Then in Seabound, we got to see characters like Misdemeanor transferring Vengestone, and of course, because Vengestone cancels out elemental powers, it seems like somebody wants to get rid of elemental beings, or at least get rid of the ninja. That's what Vengestone is for. We've seen Vengestone being used against the ninja at several points throughout Ninjago's run. Who's to say somebody out there doesn't hate the ninja, especially following the conclusion of Seabound and Wajira's rampage? You might be asking yourself here, well, if the Vengestone buyer was secretly collecting Vengestone throughout the events of Master of the Mountain, Wajira had not yet invaded Ninjago City. What exactly would be the point of trying to collect Vengestone even before Ninjago City was invaded? And what does Vengestone have to do with the government of Ninjago? As mentioned in my previous video on this subject, the government of Ninjago will probably be looking for ways to outlaw the ninja, outlaw elemental users, especially users like Nia, who have been shown to contain large amounts of power. I feel like the Vengestone buyer is going to be a prime target for the Ninjago police force and the government, not with intentions to arrest him or prosecute him or anything like that. I feel like the government of Ninjago is going to be working with the Vengestone buyer to get rid of the ninja following the destruction of Ninjago City at the hands of Wajira. Remember, Wajira herself did indeed have elemental powers, the powers of wind and water originally came from Wajira, so Wajira herself is an elemental being, and in theory, Venstone could easily tie Wajira down and get rid of her. And considering how the ninja are elemental beings, and Nia is on the run, nowhere to be found now, after being given an insane amount of power, it seems like the government is going to want to control what the ninja are up to and where exactly they are. Hence why the government and the Venstone buyer might be working together. The Venstone buyer might be some crazy government conspiracy theorist going on and on about the impending doom of Ninjago if elemental beings are still allowed to exist. They might secretly disguise themselves as a police officer and might even be elementally powered as well. Imagine a very trigger-happy mercenary, kind of similar to Ronin, who just has a large amount of Venstone and is able to easily take control and manipulate the government. I feel like it is very likely that we will see something like this in the next season. I mentioned earlier as well that this individual might even be elementally powered, and I feel like if this is true, that would not only tie down the last elemental power storyline that we know is going to be happening, that of course has been 100% confirmed, but it might also tie down the Venstone buyer arc and give us somebody who is elementally powered, but is also the Venstone buyer. In this scenario, the Venstone buyer is not going to be a returning character, it's going to be a brand new character, a character that holds an elemental power not yet seen by the public, who wants Venstone to get rid of all of the other elemental beings. And of course, following the events of Seabound, if the police and the government of Ninjago are on the hunt for these elemental beings, you could see where the Venstone buyer might get an idea here. By assisting the Ninjago police force and the government, they could easily round up all of the elemental masters, including the ninja and the other elemental users that we saw during the Tournament of Elements. They could easily wrap all of them up in one place and secure them, and essentially they would be under the control of the government, only able to be free if the government allows them to, only able to go on missions to fight villains if the Ninjago city government deems it appropriate. As such, the Venstone buyer would be the only active elemental user throughout all of Ninjago, as the ninja and all of the other elemental masters had been locked away. In regards to this, the Venstone buyer could easily take over as Ninjago's new hero, even though he worked with the police force to successfully round up all of the other ninja and every other elemental master. In an alternative scenario, the Venstone buyer could also trick the police force into buying Venstone from him in order to contain the ninja that way. Maybe the Venstone buyer realizes that the government wants to control the ninja, or at least keep them under wraps to ensure that no other large quantities of destruction happen throughout Ninjago City. The Venstone buyer could take advantage of this and slip the police Venstone under the table without anybody knowing. That way he gets paid and the cops get what they want. Of course, that really wouldn't make much sense in the grand scheme of things because the Venstone buyer was purposely trying to buy Venstone from King Vangelis in order to use it for some other purpose. You would think if he was gonna sell it, he wouldn't waste his money on it in the first place, but he might be selling it to the cops for extra charges, who's to say? In summary, the Ninjago 2022 storyline could very well end with the Venstone buyer taking control over Ninjago and being its sole protector. Maybe he just wants all of the glory and all of the power, and he wants the ninja to be locked away. Maybe it has something to do with a previous Ninjago battle, who really knows? Maybe it's somebody that the ninja have wronged in the past, who just wants to become Ninjago's sole protector. I could totally see something like this happening. A poser that just wants all of the attention. Somebody who doesn't know how to protect Ninjago, and then when real villains show up and take over again, you bet that the ninja will jump into action, and the Ninjago City Police Force, the government, and the citizens of Ninjago will regain their respect in the ninja, and recognize that they are the only ones worthy of protecting Ninjago. Like I said, this proposed storyline is simply a theory, going off of some previous theories, but in my opinion it does make a fair amount of sense. It ties in the upcoming government plotline, it ties in the last elemental power, and it concludes the Venstone arc. All three of those things can be wrapped up in a neat little bow, and all that needs to happen is the Venstone buyer needs to sell some of the corrupt Ninjago cops quantities of Venstone, and the Ninjago City Police and everybody else living in the city needs to turn on the ninja in order for this to be successful. As I stated earlier, the Ninjago 2022 storyline will probably not go this way. In fact, I'm willing to bet that everything I said in this video will be completely false and overturned by a new plotline that will outshine this suggested one right here. All I'm saying is that this is a high possibility. I feel like with everything going on following the events of Seabound, Ninjago City is not going to be okay. There's going to be a lot of hesitation in regards to whether or not the ninja can be trusted, especially considering how one of their members is currently rogue and wielding a large amount of destructive power that we saw destroy Ninjago City during the battle with Wajira. How exactly will the government and the police of Ninjago react to such a thing? I feel like they're going to try to get the Venstone buyer involved in some way in order to better control the ninja. Like I said, maybe even have the ninja deployed in controlled missions in order to keep the level of collateral damage extremely low. We could potentially even see elemental powers and elemental beings outlawed across all of Ninjago. Who's to really say? Like I said, there's going to be a lot of big things happening in the next year for Ninjago, and I know I might sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist a lot of the times, but this is a high possibility in my opinion. I feel like we will see something very similar to this, and whether or not that'll be the case, we just have to wait and see. So with that being said, you guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for this video here today. I apologize if it got kind of rambly and hard to follow there towards the end. I just have a lot of ideas, and I feel like a lot of these ideas could very well work, and I hope you guys were able to appreciate this proposal, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a comment down below talking about what you think is going to be happening in the next year for Ninjago. Do you think the ninja will be outlawed or not? And do you think the Vengestone buyer will be in cahoots in a way with the Ninjago government and the police force? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.